Well, the Council for Science and Industrial Research has released its annual statistics on power generation in the country. According to the report, 2022 had more intensive power cuts than any previous year. Eskom's energy availability factor has shown quite a decline in each of the 3 quarters of the year, and that's due to increasing outages caused by unplanned loss of capacity. Now, the report also shows a 6.2 gigawatt increase in renewable energy, thus contributing 6.5% of the total energy mix. But for more on this, I'm joined now by Warrick Pierce, Principal Researcher at the Council for Science and Industrial Research. Warrick, thank you for your time and good morning to you. What informs this? I mean, 2022 being the year where Eskom has seen intensive power cuts compared to other years, as per your research. Why is this year the worst, and what informed this data?
So, I mean, firstly, the data comes from Eskom themselves. So this is not a CSIR research of some sort. It's just looking at analysis of Eskom's own data. So it's essentially got to do with what they call the energy availability factor, which has been declining for numerous years. And we again reaching a low point, almost hitting sort of 50%. So of the Eskom fleet, only half of it is available at a time. So this has led to increased load shedding. So even by sort of say August or so, 2022 had more load shedding than the year before.
Yeah. And also, I mean, in your analysis, do you see this problem still occurring for other years to come? I think that's the one big concern for most South Africans, whether or not we're stuck with this problem or actually there are alternatives to energy that Eskom can consider, the government can consider, or even individuals, consumers, businesses can consider.
Yeah, in trading, they would say you shouldn't catch a falling knife. So where the bottom is, I mean, previous interviews we've done a few months ago, we said, I don't think we've reached the bottom. And then we had July and September months, and September was the worst load shedding month on record. So have we reached the turnaround point yet? Probably not. It'll be a while before we can establish that. It'll have to be a few months of data to look at that. In terms of things that are looking on the plus side, we know there's rooftop PV. A lot of customers are looking at kind of electricity liberalization, where they're choosing their own generation to supplement Eskom or municipal supply.
Yeah. When we look at COP27 and the summit recently held, for you, Warrick, I mean, what were the highlights and standout points just in terms of the electricity crisis we have in the country, and what resolutions or solutions even can be implemented with the urgency, of course, that we need?
So the positive things from COP is that the developing or developed countries are looking to support the likes of South Africa. And South Africa is really, still one of the top carbon emitters in the world. So to make a little difference in South Africa is going to go a long way. So I think money will come to South Africa, and has already started coming to South Africa in terms of transitioning away from a coal-dominated fleet to more renewable energy. So we had bid window 5 that closed. We might have some projects coming online next year. So yeah, it's going to be a while, and renewables are not going to be solving our short-term load shedding problem. But definitely it's a movement in the right direction.
I mean, we just recently ran a story, even this morning, right, in eNCA, about how 2 of the biggest companies, namely Vodacom and Shoprite, had lamented the losses they had to endure under, blackouts. And obviously the electricity crisis in the country, saying they're engaging, at least Vodacom is engaging with Eskom in this regard. The impact on the economy, according to your analysis, I mean, how's it looking? And what are the projections? Should this crisis continue, what's the impact then on business and the economy?
So, I mean, in terms of demand, we saw that this year had slightly more for the first half than last year. So it might see a bit of a slight recovery, but it's pretty much the same. The impact of load shedding is obviously very high. How someone does business. So there's obviously the short-term implications of, well, I don't have electricity right now, how to run my factory. But there's the longer-term implications as well, in terms of, well, do I want to build a factory that I need to finance for the next 20 years if I'm not sure about reliable supply in terms of electricity? And then obviously becoming secondary now. Before it was always about price increases, but now it's just, well, can you just give me the electricity?
Right.
So I think, you know, Eskom is being more transparent about the issue. So we've got better information now. So yes, I think things will improve. When we're going to get to that turnaround, is it going to be next year? Hopefully, but no one really knows.
All right, we'll leave it there. I appreciate you speaking to us. CSIR Principal Researcher Warrick Pierce, thank you for your time this morning. With that being